So what we want to do is make sure the equipment is even. Now, notice that even if the ceiling is slanted or if there is some discrepancy with like hanging it from a tree branch, we can adjust all that with the different notches. I call them notches in the daisy chains. Okay, so we usually figure it out. And if we need to get really creative, sometimes I'll go ahead and just tie a knot in one of the daisy chains to make it even. So there's different ways that we can adjust because as you can see, the ceilings are slanted here. So if we measure it just right, if we space it just right, we can still somehow miraculously get the swings even. I go through a meticulous amount of detail with the factory. They're manufactured in San Francisco to get them perfect. So after we get them perfect, we work with a slanted ceiling, and then we're like, oh, but we figured it out. Lots of different ways to adjust. Okay? Great. So we're going to put the swing behind our back. The first thing I'm going to show you is the hold underneath the armpits. Now, the swing never actually touches the armpits as much as physically possible. And you'll notice if it does touch the armpits, your armpits don't like it. So what we want to do is use our forearms to press down. Now I'm going to turn around so you can see exactly where this lands for this one part, but I'll face you again in just a moment. So my forearms gets the swings to my lower ribs. Okay, so when it hits my lower ribs, I sit back and it's going to like hook underneath my wings. So I don't let it slide up onto the scapula. I let it hook the bottom tip. And then my forearms press and it locks in. Can you guys feel the difference? So go ahead and let it slide up into the armpits. And then you'll notice it just doesn't feel that great for extended periods of time. And people will kind of get into a little wrestling match with it. Never really works. What we want to do is make sure that it starts out nice and low. Okay? And if we need, we can always press back and let it slide in. So if it slides up too high, which it will, because gravity is doing a really good job, we press our legs straight, we push both arms in, and we get it down. There is a sweet spot there. Once we find the sweet spot, then we can hang all day in the swing. Until then, if it's hitting the armpits, it's going to cut off the circulation, and it's very tender. It's a sensitive part of the body, mainly because what we're doing is working with the lymph system. So this part of the body is really sensitive. This part of the body is really sensitive. That's where we put the swing in most of the poses. So we have to learn how to do the hooks and the anchors and get it just right. Most people will try to spread the swing out. It doesn't really work like that. Gravity is just going to bunch it up again. So what we do is we position it. That looks great. So John, would you like to be a little higher? You doing okay?
I'm going to move it, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so if we bring our toes, so the other thing I like to use is these cute round red mats. They make all the difference. Okay, if we bring our toes to the front of the mat, this is the space in which we're going to define the movements. Okay, if we don't bring our arms up and use the forearm press, it's okay. It's just going to, in time, pinch the underarms and feel like it's going to cut off circulation. Yeah, so toes to the front of the mat. That looks great, and then our bum hangs in the very center. So most people, when they get in the swing, they push their hips towards me, right? It's kind of funny, but everybody does it. So what would happen if we drop the pubic bone down? So the pubic bone actually tucks down and then back. So your pubic bone is going to tuck back towards the mirrors behind you. Yeah, totally different. So we lift our sternum and we drop our pubic bone. So we get this amazing, that looks great, we get this amazing length through the front of the body. And this is part of how we open up and heal the spine. I'm going to talk a lot about the spine today, which is more information than I normally do add for the aerial yoga play, but because I'm so jazzed on the AirX right now, you guys are just getting the extra, the reverberations of it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, so if we come on out for 1 second and turn to page 1 so we can get the visual reference, because I am going to be like, I'm going to say several times, oh, so look down and see number 1, the squat, lunges, and back bends. So in the outline for me, hun, in the outline, just turn to page 1. Okay? Have that somewhere you can see. Okay, great. See if you can get in, get the forearms. Cue yourself and then walk your feet forward. We all want to make sure our mats are perfectly centered. I think I'm going to pull your mat up just slightly. So I'm just going to adjust a little bit. Kind of neurotic about the alignment. Good thing. And then hips drop. Drop those hips maybe. I'm working. They're tight. I'm working. I don't think I'm going to drop more. soften.
Must be the background.
That's okay. Go ahead and soften. So usually what I'll do is, this is a good adjustment, guys, is if you don't mind being intimate with your buddy. But you just use your thumbs and you just let them kind of like, coax that tuck. Yeah. Because they are locked. It means the lower back is locked, which is
Where
really
did you make the adjustment?
Sure, and we'll do this in the workshops too. So I just take my thumbs and I just kind of guide the hips down and back, And her hips were like, yours are nice and soft now. She's been practicing with me for a while too though. So usually, yeah, there you go. See how it's kind of like wanting to push back, so we let it drop even more, Good, yeah. And we're just encouraging that connective tissue to start to soften, because it usually is here. John and I work together a lot, so.
Almost feels like a roll back, like hips are rolling.
Yeah, so what we want to do is start to undulate the pelvis, kind of like belly dancing moves, where we're rocking the pelvis side to side and starting to loosen it up. So this is called sumo squat. Okay, so I'll say the names a lot so we get used to it. That looks great. Yeah. So instead of it just being side to side, Wendy, it's actually a tilt. And a tilt.
Okay.
Feel the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, so most people move like in these little linear blocks, but we really want to get that tilt down. And so feet are about 45 degrees. The chair is in the back if you want to bring that up. So it's in the back, Connie, the chair.
Oh, the bench,
Yeah.
Okay. Back by the cycle.
If anybody needs an adjustment, let me know. Okay, does that feel good? Nice. Okay. Whenever we need a break, straight legs, right? Press the forearms in, get the swing nice and low behind the heart, and then let's blossom. Let's go ahead and open up the arms for a T. This is called jazz hands, so just shake it out, shake, shake, shake. Jazz hands. Beautiful. And then go ahead and reach overhead, take a nice big inhale, big supported back bend, and then exhale, interlace your fingers behind the back of the neck for chillaxin arms. So our chillaxin arms is our #1 way to support the head and neck. So we're going to just gently rock from side to side. We spend a lot of time on #1 and 2, and then it'll go a little bit quicker. But we have basically another hour, and we'll have a break. So we're just going to go over 1 and 2, have a break, and then go over 3 and 4. Okay, so we have plenty of time, and then we'll also have 2 mini breaks, one in the middle of the practice, and then one before the workshop, just so we can take good care of ourselves.
The
Nice.
workshop's open to the public, right?
Yeah, 4
What
to
time is
6.
that?
4 to 6.
Some kind of friend.
Yeah, feel free to invite people. We have plenty of room. Let's try bending the left knee and pulse. So I'm bringing my left elbow to my left knee. I'm going to do my best to say things backwards. Feel free to correct me if I'm like getting confused. And then we go straight back. And then bend the right elbow to right knee. Pulse. Yeah, just see if you can feel the hang. The swing kind of massaging out that stickiness behind the heart. That looks great, guys. And then at the same time, so John, stick with us. There you go. Nice. And then when we come back to center, let's go ahead and try one more time. Left elbow to left knee, just a little pulse. Stretch from your outer pinky toe all the way up to the right elbow. You can feel that nice long line of energy. So we get into the rib cage, we get into expanding through the lungs, we press straight back, neutralize, and then bend the right knee one more time. Nice. So we have a nice strong foundation for us to rise up, and then a lot of relaxation and I call it swagger, a lot of swag in the swing for the upper body. Perfect, guys. Okay, inhale, open the arms wide. One more time, jazz hands, shake it out, feel like you can stretch the nerves. And then forearm press, right? So forearm press allows us to come back in. Yeah, make sure we have the hook. So Connie, you want to just make sure your swing is nice and low there. You're okay, but it's only going to slide up. It's not going to slide down more. Does that make sense? Really good, guys. That looks great. John, how you doing? Doing good? Yeah, great. Really nice. Okay, now you'll feel how strong the upper body is, right? We do these little pulses here, where I just want you to try and engage your lats, those things that are on the underside of, yeah, nice and easy. So that's how we lift the chest. Most people don't even know. Don't use your pelvis, just the upper body. No hips necessary for this one. Just pulse there and feel the strength of the sternum lifting as well as the weights. See, my hips are not moving? Yeah. I know, it's hard to isolate. This is really good for us to see which muscle groups does it take. Yeah, that's perfect to pull down. Okay guys, one more break. We're gonna come into weeping willow. So what we're gonna do is heel toe our feet together. Straight lines, really beautiful. I think you have enough room with the pole there too. We just spent all morning rigging and rearranging the swing, so everybody's looking really good. And we're just making sure that Wendy and Connie has enough space and everyone's happy. Just let me know if you need anything. So the weeping willow, we can do it straight arms, which it requires a really strong neck, or go ahead and use the chillaxin arms, where we're allowing the head to rest back into our hands. This is a heart opening pose, right? So we're massaging out that stickiness behind the heart. And we're just lifting ourselves away from side to side. Yeah. So the feet pushing into the ground is initiating the hips, moving from side to side, and the upper body is just playing along. Nice. Heart's pointing up towards the sky. Head is back. Beautiful, guys. So supported squats, lunges, and back bends. Okay? So these are our back bends. Let's come into some of our lunges. So we're going to inhale, open up. Exhale, go ahead and press. Okay? So we can just drop and hang, which is really nice. You can kind of wiggle it out. I like to keep the toes close to the front of the mat. Okay? This feels good on the side body. I've been doing a lot of different practices, getting the RX ready, so my lower back's really happy right now. So make sure your lower back is happy, but remember to keep that lift. So it's easy to kind of drop in. See if you can keep that lift. Okay? Let's do a twist before we get into the lunges. Let's go ahead and lift the left knee up. Okay? So we're going to flex the right foot back and roll into the outer edge, and then step. Step as high as you can. Oh, very good. Step out.
Is this called twist? Or?
Yes, this is like the recline twist.
Okay.
So it's just all generic here, and then it's written out in the manual.
Okay.
So twists, all kinds of creative twists. So walk your toes out to the edge for me, Wendy. Yeah, just slide out, good job. So we use the mat to inform the space, and then see if you can look over the left shoulder. So you're bringing out the climb, kind of like a recline twist on the floor. Beautiful. So inhale, kind of lift up slightly. Exhale, drop in a little bit deeper. Yeah, just drop the hips. Inhale, lift. Pulse in some of the poses. Exhale, drop. Inhale, lift. And then we bring the knee up. Go ahead and come through center. Neutralize the spine. You can flex the feet back if that feels good. Wiggle it out. We do lots of wiggling in practice, the official scientific term. And then roll into the outer edge of the left, flexed. Right knee lifts and we twist. So step out. So let's see if we can create a right angle here, a right angle to the floor, and then a right angle down to our ankle. See how then everything stacks really good. That's how we get the visual. And then we're going to look over the right shoulder and drop. Inhale, lift. Just lift and pulse. Exhale, drop. See if you can drop your hip a little bit more, maybe now. Beautiful. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. It's really infinite. I can show you so many different twists and lunges and variations. I like to just give you a taste, and then we can also, I encourage you to create your own practice with it. You use this as the basis and foundation, but if you come up with another twist or lunge you really like, we're totally open to adding that in too. So inhale, go ahead and lift that right knee up.